As I mentioned, it's also AGNT's season for interfaith and intercultural celebration. So we'll be weaving in things from other cultures and other faiths. It's a wonderful time to explore how other people are moving through their days and nights and their holidays and practices together. So we'll be doing that for the next few months. The other thing is that it's also the season for humane service. And we have a couple of national and international holidays on the calendar this month. And so it's all kinds of things that are going on. When we get to our announcements, we will talk about them some more, but consider that at the bottom of our newsletter is this list. It's right now about this long. It's like the prize in a box of Cracker Jacks. Because we have things going on Sunday and Wednesday and Sunday and Wednesday and Sunday and Wednesday. And then we've got a couple other special things that we're doing on the occasional Saturday. And we're just getting geared up. We're moving in the direction of being in a place where we will have things happening other days and nights as well. So just want to put that out there. So the theme for the month is service. And we have a World Day of Service coming up in the middle of September. And we have the International Day of Peace coming up after that. And then we have Rosh Hashanah after that. And we have Yom Kippur after that. And we have all of these other things in between. And it's just a rich time of turning the page from summer, from the brightness and the long days and the heat and the activity, and moving into the period of harvest, but not quite. It's sort of in between. I was thinking about my brother today. He has an organic produce farm, and I know that he's between berries and apples, and that he might be having a bit of a pause. He might be doing just a tiny bit less other than taking care of his apples right this moment. So about this Grandparents' Day. Many people feel that being a grandparent is an opportunity to have a second chance at being a parent. Now, I haven't been a grandparent. I haven't been a parent. As a matter of fact, I remember when I was in my 20s, I had someone do a reading for me one time. I think it involved an astrological chart, but I was in my early 20s. And he said, "You're not going to have a family per se. You're going to be parenting to a larger group in a different way."
Yes.
So,
yes.
And I've done other things like, have a bed and breakfast instead of 8 kids of my own, things of that nature. I've done plenty of laundry and made lots of beds anyway. So the other thing is about being an elder. This is really the wisdom of our elders. But the other thing about being an elder and or a grandparent is that wisdom happens, just like Aggie was sharing. There's this thing that happens when we've had some more time on the planet and living life, is that we get to know by way of our own experience about things. And that's so different from having someone else tell us about it. It's so different from reading about it in a book. It translates into wisdom. As we grow and move through things, then we truly understand them. And by the time we get to the stage where we might be a grandparent, we have so much experience. And we have the opportunity to either offer to our grandchildren something that we didn't know yet how to offer to our own children. We also get to do things like, now I do this as an aunt, I'm an aunt and a grand aunt. I'll go do things like remember how to play and dream and imagine and be silly when you're supposed to be all serious and get your chores done, and get us both in trouble. I have nieces who are all grown up. They have PhDs and they teach at university now, and we used to play bathroom talk Scrabble late at night. So it's possible that part of your wisdom is to realize that life isn't so serious. And you get to be present with your grandchildren in a way that you didn't yet know how to be with your own. And by the same token, you can be there when your child becomes a parent. There's so much simply because of the passage of time and life experience. And another thing that Aggie shared about her readings was that this really all translates into love. That's what it really is love. So there are things that people with wisdom do. And some of them, yes, come literally from grandparents or from those of us who have become that. But they also come from other people in our lives who have been like a rock, who've been a guiding force. Any of those people who believed in us before we did. You might have had a friend who recognized your potential before you did. You may have had a sibling who saw you that way, a parent. Or what about a teacher or a coach, perhaps? Maybe a mentor. And then, of course, in mentoring, in giving to others, in serving them, even if you thought you had nothing to give, what came out of that grew you into recognizing your own greatness? That's part of the double-sided gift of giving and serving. I told you a few months ago that I went to Vermont in early July to perform a wedding ceremony for a young woman who, when she was 11, I thought when she was 10, I bent down to tie my shoe. I'm the youngest of 4. I don't know anything about being anybody's elder. She jumped on my shoulders and she said, "Would you please be my big sister?" And I thought, I guess I got to say yes. I didn't have a clue how to do that, but she taught me. And she gave me something when I accepted that role, many things that have changed me forever. So there's this beautiful thing of whether we think we're ready or not, and the child comes or the grandchild comes, or the shift in our status in our relationships in our world, it comes. And then not only are we prepared because we're just wired that way, we're built that way, there's something in us that knows, but in the doing, in the accepting of the mantle, of the role, as we move into it, everything that we need to know is there. And isn't it interesting that that's really the core or the nut, the basis of the kind of wisdom that we share with others and that others have shared with us, whether they're grandparents or mentors. I had some great aunts and uncles, and I still have one who's just home and watch. That thing that says, yes, you can. So there's this other concept that I wanted to talk about is when we forget. When we forget. And I thought the other day that it was beautifully encapsulated in 2 letters and 1 word, if. Back again, when I was in college, my freshman year, I was invited to a Bible study. And I went, and I wasn't sure what would be there for me because I hadn't had that experience before, but I went out of curiosity. And it wasn't quite, at that time, in that way, a good fit for me. But I remember the girl who told me about it. She was really tall and had lots of hair. Really, just, to me, she was way up there somewhere. But anyway, just, I don't even remember her name. Just tall, skinny girl asked me to come. And she told me, she said, "Marcia, there are no ifs in God's world." And that was really the gift of that moment. I didn't know or have a clue until years later what that might even mean. But she had heard it from someone and passed it on to me. There are no ifs in God's world. And even though I didn't like the study group and I didn't stay with it, I took that nugget with me and it became more and more wisdom and a guiding force in my life to realize that there is nothing that is uncertain. There's nothing left to chance. There are no ifs in God's world. So what happens when we get in an if state of mind? Well, I decided last Monday, to be precise, that IF stands for I forgot. IF stands for I forgot, right? I forgot who I am. I forgot what is truly going on here. I forgot what it's all about. I forgot that I am born of something limitless. I forgot that I'm made out of limitless stuff. I forgot that I'm surrounded by limitlessness. I forgot that all I have to do is say yes and it's mine. I forgot. And what does it feel like when we forget? Rather than discovering our greatness, we've covered it up. And rather than recognizing our magnificence, which means to recognize and to think of it again and again and again, we have forgotten to think that way about ourselves and our world and one another. And rather than remembering, which means to put it back into our bodies, that idea is somewhere else, and we're embodying untruth. We're embodying limitation. We're embodying fear. We're embodying doubt. Now, this idea of if is very insidious because, number one, we live in a culture that agrees in duality and believes that there are good people and bad people and good places and bad people, so there's good luck and bad luck, good days and bad days, and all of that stuff that tears us. Think about algebra, even if you only made it through maybe the first level, we have those word problems. And in algebra word problems, we had the ones that had the if-then clause, right? Two variables, if A, then B. And what if, I have to use the word a little bit, your mindset is so locked in that the only way you can have your good is if these other variables, these external circumstances, all of the people are behaving, everything's lined up, that's the only way you can have what you desire. Then your if-then clause is loaded against you. The odds are not in your favor. Your luck is down. Your chance is not so great. So imagine, if you will, that when you slip into an if state of mind, you might be saying, I'd love this to be a wonderful lunch with my friend if they don't mess up our order, if the wait's not too long. I'd love my car to be running really well if it doesn't cost too much. I'd love to have a wonderful relationship in my life if it's not too complicated. I'd love to if only. And then what happens is you have a complex. You're stuck. There's no way that the universe can deliver, the law can deliver a clear result with that kind of pretzel logic. Not at all. So think about when you've wanted to go do something, and that kid in you that's so enthusiastic is so sure about it, and then doubt has entered in. Maybe just by your own mental wanderings, or maybe because a friend or a family member came into the picture and they were experiencing doubt. Do you slip into if? Do you cover up your magnificence? Do you forget how great you are? Do you forget to embody infinite possibility? And then end up agreeing with that limitation and having to dump the dream. It actually, this opportunity happens all the time. When you're in the room with one other person, on the phone, watching television or a movie, reading a book, deciding whether to put that down or continue with it. We watched a DVD last night for less than 30 seconds. The opening scene was horrific, and we got rid of it, and that was that. No need to go any further. Whoops, back it goes. I don't need that. But what happens when it's a person, an authority figure, an employer, a dear friend, someone you're supposed to agree with? Can you find that wise one within you that you are becoming, and that in some cases you have become, and hold the high watch? Can you find that place within you that has never faltered? Because actually there's one in every one of us. Love abides. That's how we get wisdom over time, because as forms and people and circumstances and things come and go, love abides. So it's that one thing that's never lost or broken, that can never be added to nor taken away from. It's always there. It's in you and it's in me. Can you find that place when you have a moment of doubt? I'm thinking of the stickers that Judy gave us in class a while back, and I have mine on my computer. It has the word doubt in one of those red circles with a big line through it. No doubt. And so what I've been doing just for about a week is practicing, recognizing when I'm slipping into doubt, when I'm in an if state of mind. And I put so many conditions and contingencies upon my belief and possibility that it's very limited. And there's almost no way, well, there's some way, but it's very complicated that my good can get to me. And I'm sort of breaking the habit of doubt. I'm releasing the unconsciousness of if. And seeing if every time I get into that state of mind, I can say instead, what would it be like to say, I am? It is. We are. This chapter that we read in class last Thursday night says, just remember the words, I can. That's all. It doesn't have to be complicated. So I invite you to think of all of the times when someone who was your elder saw in you what you couldn't see, believed in you when you couldn't believe in yourself, helped you to remember that it's really not all that serious, that anything is possible that you put your mind to, and that you can whistle while you work and the work still gets done. You can giggle while you do the dishes and they'll still get clean. You can have your cake and eat it too. You can have your dream. You can have whatever you desire. And remember that that voice is in you as well. And take some time today, this month, to give thanks to those people. They may not still be on the planet, but you can still quietly give thanks to them. You can write them a letter. You can find a surrogate and thank that person for holding that energy and playing that role. And of course, you can pass it on. So I'd like to just close this with a treatment today, recognizing all of this rich material together. So we're going to close our eyes and just take it in. And give thanks for the presence of love. Love, wisdom, caring. As our elders and in ourselves, moving through us all and having its way, being embodied and expressed, experiencing itself by means of us. I give thanks for all of the beautiful ways that it shows up. And I know that love continues to have its way. And that the beautiful, unfailing principle of the law makes that way possible. In gratitude for this, I simply release my word. Because the gift has already been given. And there's nothing left to do but celebrate. So we say thank you. We open our eyes and say together, and so it is.